Tonight, fire crews kept busy by a blaze at the Port Pirie dump. And the future of Kimber's nuclear facility up in the air as One Nation sides with Labor.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Fire crews spent the day at a large rubbish fire at the Port Pirie waste facility, with thick black smoke billowing from the site. Authorities are monitoring the smouldering blaze, with fears it could reignite, if not extinguish fully.
A ferocious wall of fire confronting emergency services who were quick to the scene as this pile of timber went up in flames.
5:45 of a large fire turned out to be at the Port Pirie Waste Transfer Station, burning in a large pile of wood that was adjacent to a pile of mulch.
Thick black smoke billowing from the pile as both CFS and MFS crews worked together to contain the blaze.
The wind is coming from the west and it's just blowing out into farmland.
Don't be alarmed, as you can see, this one's under control and it's nothing to be concerned about, but it certainly will be likely to smoke for quite some time.
Port Pirie Regional Council staff using heavy machinery to help pull apart the material. Investigations into the cause are underway.
Did have lots of lightning strikes around the state the night before last, as everyone knows, but certainly no signs of anything from that.
Firefighters stayed on scene throughout the day as the pile smouldered, monitoring the area to make sure it didn't reignite.
We've just got to get all the wood put out so that in the coming days, if the weather heats up, we don't have a fire start in the paddocks next door.
The blaze follows a busy few days for York Mid-North firefighters.
Very busy with the lightning strikes. Been out there most of the night and all last night at a house fire in Crystal Brook.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Pauline Hanson has put a halt on Kimber's proposed nuclear waste dump, saying it will not vote for the government's legislation. Kimber's mayor says the town is well educated and more than ready for the facility.
It's a debate that has been ongoing for the past 5 years, polarising the local community. The Kimber nuclear waste facility saga today taking another twist, with One Nation announcing they will not back the legislation needed for the project to proceed.
One Nation isn't going to be stopping this. It's simply going to be returning democratic rights to the people of South Australia.
Kimber's mayor confirming he will be urgently writing to the senator to request a meeting.
I'm really happy to put together a delegation, travel to Pauline so she can get a balanced and realistic views of the views in our community.
He says 62% of the community voted in favour of hosting the facility, but One Nation says the site's location will affect far more people than just those in the township itself.
People who are going to be quite close to the site, because the site's 23 kilometres away, so these are people who will be right next door. They didn't get a chance to vote because they were outside the limits of the district council.
There's no evidence that if we went wider that we'd come up with any different result anyway. There's a balance of views throughout the community.
The member for Grey says he is disappointed by the news.
The Kimber community has done everything that was asked for by the Parliament to deliver this waste repository in Kimber, and now the Parliament is saying no.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta's Indigenous community has expressed their disappointment after the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island flags were lowered for yesterday's Remembrance Day ceremony. However, the local Eyre says they were following national protocol.
Flying high alongside the nation's flag today, but yesterday's Remembrance Day ceremony told a different story. The Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags were removed from their pole, causing an upset throughout the Aboriginal community.
And I think what the RSL has done is not include, by removing those flags, they talk about causing division. That caused division.
But the RSL says they were simply following national protocol, removing the flags for the duration of the ceremony as they have done in previous years.
And we only use the national flag for that ceremony because in the end that's the flag people died for and died under, both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people.
The community urged to stand united in remembering fallen soldiers.
People should come together to remember. I mean, you've got to remember it wasn't only white Australians that died, Aboriginal people died in different wars at different times.
Aboriginal leaders are calling for all three flags to fly together next year.
Very much appreciated if the RSL did, and that would have at least acknowledged the fact that First Nations people did participate in the conflicts.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
2 unlicensed drink drivers will face court in Port Augusta. Just after midnight on Wednesday, police stopped a vehicle on Elsie Street. The 37-year-old woman allegedly returned a positive reading of .277, more than 5 times the legal limit. She was reported for a number of offences. Meanwhile, after 2 a.m, police stopped a motorbike rider also on Elsie Street. The 30-year-old man allegedly returned a reading of .159. He will appear in court at a later date. Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln's Railway Society left angry as vandals target the property, and Port Augusta's brightest high school students recognised. Welcome back. Port Lincoln's Railway Museum is picking up the pieces after being targeted by heartless vandals. Century-old memorabilia was spray-painted over, while other historical items were smashed, leaving dedicated members frustrated.
Graffiti strewn across the walls, railway carriages smashed in, a disheartening sight for volunteers.
It's just mindless, senseless, annoying destruction.
Port Lincoln's Railway Museum freight shed targeted by mindless vandals. The thugs seemingly forced their way into the building on Monday night before making themselves at home.
It's just frustrating, annoying, disappointing that this sort of thing happens.
Historical artefacts telling the story of Eyre Peninsula's railway damaged during the rampage, the thieves raiding the displays, an old fridge door left wide open, while an untouched beer was left on the table. But it's the tagging of a century-old canvas tent that members say is the most disappointing.
With paint like that on century-old canvas, we're never going to be able to get it off.
A railway groundsman raised the alarm, but the thieves were already gone by the time police arrived. Members now considering upgrading their security.
Enjoy yourselves, but don't harm other people in the process.
Police investigations are ongoing. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact Crime Stoppers. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Regional Activators Alliance is up and running, with the Spencer Gulf Cities Group signing up as a member. The collaboration is aimed at creating more regional jobs, with industry professionals to share their ideas.
A new collaboration bringing Spencer Gulf Cities, UniHub Spencer Gulf and Regional Development York Mid-North together.
The whole idea is to actually prepare people for employment, get people placed and get our community back away from the 13.8% unemployment.
The group will begin meeting soon to jumpstart the alliance.
We're actually always working towards, how do we get best outcomes for our communities. This alliance actually gives us an opportunity where we can actually capsulate.
This will be done through the National Awareness Campaign, with a research program also gathering information.
Spencer Gulf alone, there's $15 billion worth of investment and 9,000 jobs that'll be ready for the grabs over this next 3-year period. To have an agency that ties all of that together so we're moving forward.
The team involved are all passionate locals, eager to create more jobs in our area.
And the people that are involved with our Executive Officer, Leonie Boothby, RDA and of course UniHub's magnificent Anita Crisps, we will not fail.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta's Clontarf Foundation held their annual awards ceremony last night. Local secondary school students were recognised for their achievements throughout the year by their families and key representatives.
After a hard year's work, these boys are reaping the benefits. Port Augusta's Clontarf Foundation hosting their second awards night since the program began.
We've had a pretty tough year this year, and it's a great opportunity to celebrate the development of our boys. They've done an awesome job helping out with a lot of different volunteering activities this year.
Receiving awards for encouragement and being a good bloke, the winners say they were grateful to be acknowledged.
I find it interesting that I got an award because I didn't expect me to get an award.
Being helpful towards the Clontarf Academy room, and yeah, it means a lot to me.
Participants say the program has had an impact on their lives, with their school grades improving. They're also giving up their free time to give back to the community.
I mainly improved a lot because of the Clontarf. They helped me with my education, and plus my teachers, they've helped me work hard and persist.
And they have some words of advice for their peers.
Do good in your years and just listen and do great in school. Even if the work's hard, just remember that practice makes perfect.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Port Lincoln school students receive vital financial support, and Wyler's garage sale trail prepares to hit the road. Organisers of Wyler's NAIDOC Week events say the city's celebrations have been a huge success. They continued last night with the Middleback Arts Centre holding an Indigenous screening. Indigenous singer and songwriter Karen Iverson was a special guest, performing songs from her heritage.
Change your mind. It's because I'm also Indigenous. I just feel really proud to be invited as a solo artist to play here tonight.
Karen has been performing on stage for 30 years. Residents across the region are being urged to dig deep to help young locals get the best start to their education. The Eyre Peninsula Community Foundation says it'll match dollar for dollar any donations given, helping provide vital supplies to students.
This school year is quickly coming to an end, and in no time at all, a fresh batch of students will begin for 2021.
So we've got about 25 students coming in starting with us next year.
For many, however, getting ready for another school year can be an anxious and frustrating struggle.
One of our families was in a bit of a dire situation. We were able to really use these vouchers to support them, support the family around them.
The back-to-school vouchers are assisting families to stock up on the vitals.
School bags, shoes, stationery items and other school books. It gives them a bit of a head start for the year ahead.
The Eyre Peninsula Community Foundation is calling on locals to dig deep now so the new year can provide a better start for all local students. The foundation committing to matching dollar for dollar on any donations received.
People looking to provide additional funds can contact the Eyre Peninsula Community Foundation through their website to make arrangements to put those monies into an account.
More than $230,000 has been handed to families in need since the program commenced in 2009.
We see education and supporting young people into education as very, very important for the future of long-term future of Eyre Peninsula.
Having funds like this obviously really supports us and really gives us a helping hand in ensuring that we can support families both within the school and outside of the school.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
This year's Garage Sale Trail is making its way to Wyler, with event organisers hailing it as one of Australia's biggest sustainability events. The City Council also supporting the occasion, calling on the community to participate.
It's a chance to rehome your unwanted goods. One person's trash preparing to become another person's treasure.
Defacers are getting on board again this year. We've got the green economy, so it'd be fantastic. People from all over Wyler are getting involved.
This multi-award-winning community event is helping reduce landfill, while also encouraging residents to reuse and reduce waste at home.
People can still register to be part of the day. Registrations don't close until the night before.
The program, powered by over 115 councils across Australia, will run over 2 days next weekend. Wyler households, schools and community groups will join more than 400,000 people across the country.
I think it's an amazing initiative and thoroughly enjoyed last year and looking forward to it again.
The green economy, just one of the many stalls participating.
There's a huge push nationwide and worldwide for a more of a circular economy, which being National Recycling Week also, that's a really big part of that.
For more information on how to register, visit Council's website. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check what's biting in the Spencer Golf this weekend. And Alex Sykes will have the weekend weather forecast. Hello again. Time now to check what's biting when we drop a line in the Spencer Gulf this weekend. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, the kingfish are still around at the moment. A few of those getting caught up around the train bridge and also the old powerhouse area. There's been a bit of a reversal of seasons at the moment. There've been lots of squid getting caught, which is unusual for November, and the crabs have gone quiet, so we're completely opposite what you'd think at the moment. Lots of silver whiting around, try along the front of the shacks on the high tides and also down along the Flinders Channel on those big sandbanks at low tide as well. There's been the odd snook getting caught, but a couple of salmon being caught in the troll while they're trying for the snook. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Welcome another week around the Gulf fishing tips. You know, we're telling you last week or so that there's King George whiting out there. We're getting feedback over the last weekend. The fish were absolutely huge. Now this cold snap we got towards the end of the week will actually bring those King George around again. So don't forget all the Woods Point areas, the Ward Spits, the Third Creek patches. Have a go for your last feed of King George whiting. And there's lots and lots of kingfish still floating around. The season is coming to an end, but if you can pick up a few stragglers, that's all we've got this week. We'll see you next week.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. The local jetty still producing a few squid, and again still some nice yellowfin whiting coming in on the foreshore. There's also been some really good yellowfin whiting coming down from the Cowlitz Landing beaches as well. Just make sure you stay on the right hand side of the fence outside of the exclusion zone. Along Black Point there's been a few salmon schools, so get out there with the lures. Down towards Point Lowly, there's also been a few yellowtail kingfish hanging around the marina, some small ones and some big ones, and out in the boats a few kingfish being caught.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, whiting are starting to improve in our local bays, which is good news. There's also been quite a few blue crabs spotted in the shallows, which is good. They're not crawling into pots yet, but those willing to get in the water are getting a feed. Moving over to Coffin Bay, whiting are still running pretty well through the farm beach grounds, up along the sand hills and over towards Gallipoli. There's also been quite a few silver trevally and some good sized squid in that area as well. On the nice days, there's been some red snapper caught wide of Point Sir Isaac. That's all for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
To the weather, and the weekend is shaping up to be a warm and sunny one across our region. With all the latest details, here's Alex Sykes.
Indeed it is, John. From 3 p.m. today, it was 19 in Port Lincoln, 28 degrees in Broken Hill, and a top of 24 in Port Pirie. Taking a look at the rest of the region now. Port Augusta, a high of 27, partly cloudy. Broken Hill, mostly sunny, 28 degrees. Kadina, cloudy, a max of 21. Adelaide, a shower or two, reaching a top of 18 degrees. To the satellite, low cloud in the southeast in moist winds is causing a few showers, mainly coastal and near elevated terrain. Skies are mostly clear elsewhere due to a building high pressure ridge. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Winds westerly 15 to 20 knots, seas 1.5 to 2.5 metres, swell south to southwesterly between 1 and 2.5 metres. Port Lincoln cloudy and a top of 19 degrees, Cleve similar conditions 23, Woodner cloud clearing a top of 24. Whyalla mainly fine 22, Port Augusta set to get to a high of 27 degrees, Kadina partly cloudy and a top of 21. Port Pirie cloud clearing getting to a high of 23, Clare partly cloudy 19, and Broken Hill sunny and a top of 25 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, sunny conditions forecast across most of the region for Saturday. Windy and 40 for Cooper Pedy, Port Augusta 37, Woodner set to reach a high of 38 degrees, Whyalla 33, Kadina a degree cooler with 32, and Adelaide partly cloudy 29. Windy conditions set to hit most parts of the region on Sunday. Port Pirie 34, Port Augusta and Cooper Pedy 39, Broken Hill 40, Port Lincoln sunny and 24, Woodner similar conditions 32, Adelaide partly cloudy and a top of 30 degrees. Conditions becoming sunny on Monday in parts. Cooper Pedy windy and set to get to a high of 32. Port Augusta sunny and reaching a high of 27 degrees. Whyalla windy and 24. Port Lincoln 22. Adelaide mainly fine, also getting to a high of 22 degrees. Broken Hill partly cloudy 27. Port Pirie 26. Kadina a top of 24. So as you said, John, we are definitely in for a fine weekend and the countdown is on. That's all the weather from me tonight. Back to you.
Thanks, Alex. And that's your local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later, and Ruby Kamane will join you to finish the week off tomorrow at 7 p.m. Have a great evening. Good night.